Well, the Department of Justice has settled lawsuits filed by the Tea Party and other conservative groups who say, well, they were unfairly targeted by the IRS under the Obama administration. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says that these groups' tax-exempt status was significantly delayed based solely on their viewpoint or ideology during the 2012 election. Here to discuss now is Ed Grime and Grave Reeves Garrett, attorney who represents 426 of these conservative groups in a lawsuit against the IRS, and of course Mark Meckler, Tea Party Patriots co-founder and Citizens for Self-Governance president, also one of our favorite guests. Let me start with you, Ed, because you're the attorney. You understand the legalese of all of this. You know, a lot of people forgot about the legal part of it, but we'll never forget about the fact that the strong arm of the federal government using its most potent weapon against its citizens, the IRS, to keep people quiet solely based on their political point of view.
Yeah, that's right, Charles. They did it secretly at first, but then finally people caught on when they got the inappropriate letters, and finally it all broke due to the TIGTA report. But it took us 4 years to really get to the bottom of it.
And of course, Mark, you know, at a time when the Tea Party was coming up, it was an amazing grassroots movement that was initially belittled by the mainstream media and Democratic operatives, and then, of course, this kind of thing. How much did it hurt you at the time? Because that was a critical period for its growth.
I think it hurt a lot of Tea Parties. Look, folks were trying to raise money. They were trying to prove their legitimacy by getting their 501c3 or C4 status, and delaying that status made it so that they couldn't raise money. And it caused a lot of people to withdraw and to not be able to be as organized and effective as they might have been.
It was an intimidation factor, wasn't it? I mean, did you feel intimidated?
It was an intimidation factor. Yeah, absolutely. Look, when the IRS comes after you and the IRS starts messing with you, there's almost nothing more scary. This is a form of secret police. It's the deep state using the state apparatus to keep people from speaking and exercising their First Amendment. It's about as terrifying as it can be here in this country.
What about the idea that Koskinen kept his job also? I mean, you talk about adding insult to injury, Mark.
Yeah, look, I know a lot of people wanted to see his head on a platter. I think he should have been perp walked out of there. It's very clear, in my opinion, he committed perjury before Congress. He oversaw the destruction of literally tens of thousands of emails that could have proved our case. It's unbelievable to me he's going to serve through his term.
Ed, where do we go from here? We know that there's a settlement. We don't know how much folks are getting. There's an apology. But where do we go from here? And how can the American public be sure that this tactic will never be used again?
Well, what really needs to happen is the people who were at the IRS, who are still there, need to finally step up and make a true apology, not a pretend apology where they say they apologize for mismanagement or for a watered-down version of what happened. They need to fess up. They need to join up with Attorney General Sessions and say, we finally admit what really happened, and that's what we apologize for.
And what about Lois Lerner's future?
Well, I don't want to speculate on somebody who, before statutes of limitations have run on things. But I think the Attorney General should take yet another look at the facts with Lois Lerner.
And Mark, where are you now? The Tea Party has had an amazing impact on the election. I thought they went too fast from the grass to becoming political groups, if you will, and I thought a lot of political folks who were falling off started to usurp the Tea Party, if you will, to make a name for themselves. It's a legitimate grassroots, and I thought it was magnificent. Where is it today?
Well, I think you read it perfectly. I think a lot of what you said happened, but I think the important thing to remember is we just witnessed a presidential election in which multiple candidates, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, straight out of the Tea Party movement. So the Tea Party movement itself it's intervened in the political system at every single level. There are 2 lieutenant governors in the country came straight out of the Tea Party movement. It's going to continue to affect the politics of this country for at least a decade to come.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much. Appreciate it. And congratulations.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.